in a way or the other, we didn't meet the end of our bargain.
I noticed that in what you just said, you used the word probably twice. So where did you get your facts from? How do you know that's why you left?
All right. So I in planning stuff like this, while gathering my thoughts in writing this, I discovered that oh, I'm very sure that over the years we have had series of sponsors and partners that partner with the student union, and it's very good to build up that relationship up with them. So I would go to them, not I'll go to them and present the union, this current union, or if elected, our administration as an administration that would stand by our word, by every word or every promises we are giving to them. So that is the reason why I mentioned it that way.
So please, who are the past partners that left? Who are the partners that left? Please give us names.
All right.
So additionally, like in the language that you use, I want to know, like, do you know of any instance whereby any past administration of the union has failed on our word or on our end of the bargain towards any sponsor? You could give, like, I would want you to be very specific rather than saying probably, because if you say probably, it does not build your case well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so the one I'm very, very familiar of happened recently, so I cannot really say that we have. Okay, let me just give you that instance and let me be straightforward and explicit in my explanation. So I know that we had a bit of like glitch with Gala this session.
What was the issue?
I overheard that we both the SU, the current SU sports secretary and Gala representative, they were having a conversation, and from that conversation I discovered that the representative from Gala was not well pleased with the whole thing. Probably, don't let me use the word probably again. So
I feel we should use the word probably in this case because you are speaking on hearsay actually. Hearsay is not a credible source of knowledge.
All right,
so I would advise you just keep on using probably.
Thank you very much. I'm not speaking on ESA because I've interacted with the current union sports secretary concerning that.
The sports secretary or the GSEC?
No, the issue happened with the sports secretary, so I interacted with him.
Personally. So the sports secretary told you that Ghana will be coming next session?
He just told me about the issue that happened with him.
So Gala said they won't be coming next session?
I'm not saying Gala won't be coming. I'm saying that I would present myself or the union, the current administration, as one who would keep to the end of their bargain and every promises we are making to Gala.
Tell us about the issue you heard about the ESC that they were saying. Tell us about it.
All right. So there were some promises the union executive promised Gala, putting their logo brands on the publicity materials, and it was not there. There was a mix-up, and it was not there. So I had a lot of struggles, and it is obvious that year in, year out, or over the years, we have had much struggles in the past as regards tendering our pleas, tendering all things we want to the school management, year in, year out. So currently now we have had, in this session, we have not had any. But I believe that it is still good to some extent. So personally, I believe that when need arises to represent the union of the students, to represent the student body, I would be actively involved. And I understand so well that the beauty of
all right, you mentioned that it is a good thing that the current administration has chosen to absconded from their duty to represent student interests. No, that's what you are saying.
I didn't mention that.
You mean there hasn't been any scenario that warrants the student union standing boldly to represent the student in this session?
Well, while I can't fully explain while that has not been done, because I'm not in the
I'm
current
asking you
administration.
a simple question. In your own overview, do you think there hasn't been any scenario this session that warrant the student union to stand boldly to represent the student it claims to represent? When you said their silence and abscondment is a good thing, do you think there hasn't been any situation that warrant their intervention?
Well, first of all, I want to clear that point you made, that I did not say they were silent and they have
No,
absconded.
no,
I did
no.
not paint them that way.
You are not saying that. I am saying that. You said their silence and their abscondment is a good thing. That the fact that they have not intervened in any student's issue is a good thing. You mentioned that.
I did mention that.
I think
I can't recall mentioning that. I did mention that.
Sir, I think.
Okay, what did you say is a good? You said something is a good thing, right? What was that thing?
I said the current state of unionism right now is commendable to some extent. That's what I said.
And I think before that you mentioned, like before that you also mentioned that this session there has not been any cause for struggle. And then he's commenting on that has there never been any time during this current administration whereby the UISU was required to have stand strongly for students and they shied away from that?
Well, I can't recall any of that. Thank you. So I will help you in recalling. So the case of the UI3, the current administration were silent. The case of security cases on campus, the current administrative were silent. The case and the pleas of students about the issue with transportation, the current administration were silent. Also the case with the transportation of architectural students to their faculty, the current administration were silent. And the case of the dilapidated hostel facility, the current administration were silent. So you now saying that what the current state of their silence is commendable is actually something that is not very good of you as someone running for the position of the Gen Sec of the Union. Thank you very much. I would like to speak on some of the things you have said. And as regards all, generally, I have conversed with the union executives, and generally they have made, because of the three ways of addressing issues in the union, we have three ways. We have the consultation, we have the consolidation, and we have the confrontation. And most times, we get to know what exactly has gone or went on when it gets to the third phase. So the union executives might not have reached the third phase, which I call struggle at the last time when I was addressing that question. And that they are the whole things, or what they have gone through throughout the whole phase of addressing issues might not have been made public. So I am not trying to defend the union, but I want to categorically assure all students that if we eventually have to go through all of these phases and get to the third phase, we will all be carried along. Thank you.
Before, I want to make a correction, right? You mentioned that we might not know unless it gets to the state of confrontation. But I want you to remember, or I want to bring something to your memory, that this current administration, they are their own trumpet blowers. They are going to see this person, they let us know. They are going to have a meeting with this person, they let us know. They're having a conversation about so and so with this person, they let us know. So the excuse of the reason why we might not know what they are doing is because it has not gotten to competition stage, it does not stand. I don't think there's something that's wrong.
Thank you.
Sorry, minor question aside. You mentioned that you established like a dedicated, like official Google Drive for the union. So I just wanted to like ask, what Google account, like which Google account will it be on?
All right, it's going to be on the union's Google account. No, That's all I'm saying. I said I am promising every student that if we ever get to a stage whereby we have to, after consolidation, we have to move to the third stage. We will not shy away from it. We are going to address it.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to the general question.
All right, Mr. Joshua, who is the UI Chancellor? UI Chancellor. I don't know the UI Chancellor.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it does not have. So it does not have any mark for that. And sorry, please wait. He came early. In case you didn't hear, he came early. He came 11:59. So you can have your seat, but before then, we would want you to, since you're the one that is responsible for the correspondence of the union and writing letters and memos. So I want you to do a little writing exercise that will last for an hour. So please jot down the question if you have a place where you can jot it down. Allegations have surfaced that the union has received a sum of money at the expense of students' interests. Raising serious concerns about financial transparency and accountability. Serious concerns about financial transparency and accountability. As General Secretary, words, to not only debunk these claims, but also restore student trust, ensure financial openness. As General Secretary, write a press release of not less than 500 words to not only debunk these claims, but also restore student trust, ensure financial openness, and prevent such controversies from undermining the credibility of the union. From undermining the credibility of the union. So you'll be submitting your phone because we don't want to do it. I read your phone. Please can you read it? So you have 1 hour from now. Okay, 1 hour from 3 p.m. to start, and please for the finish of the party, right? Once it's 4:09. Okay, so we call it on the next position. As the position of the public relations officer, we have Awo Kadeju. Come forward. So I will have 3 questions to ask him before the panel will ask questions. Thank you. All right, come begin.
Good afternoon, esteemed management of University of Ibadan School, press members, and screening committee, alongside observers. My name is Awofadejo Olasukomi Alabi, a 200 level law student of the University of Ibadan, contesting for the position of Public Relations Officer, University of Ibadan Student Union. I am contesting under the agenda ECOLITE mandate. The ECOLITE mandate is strictly divided into 2. ECHO, which is to amplify all University of Ibadan student voices representing their interests at both the union level and to the management. While light is to illuminate all union activities, presenting them in a very transparent manner to all University of Ibadan students. Part of my plans to echo the voices of all University of Ibadan students and to illuminate the light as concerning our union activities include the actionable mental health plan, the Eco Light Spotlight, and the Spotlight series on campus, strategic communication and media diplomacy, the public relations officer webinar, among many others. My plan is to represent all University of Ibadan students' interests, consolidating their interests and representing it in amplifying their voices, illuminating all each and every of what they desire, standing alongside my constitutional duties that is contained in Chapter 8, Subsection 8 of the University of Ibadan Students' Union. Thank you. Once again, my name is Awofade Jola Sukomiagadi, popularly known as Ashiwaju, contesting for the position of Students' Union Public Relations Officer. Thank you.
All right, CJ, if you have questions, please can raise up your hand. Signify by raising up your hand.
All right, I'm going to be taking the number right now. So if you have any question, just signify. 1, 2, okay? Okay, 3.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Ashiwaju. I can see that you work with current MPRO. Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay, I just want to know, what is the number of the total number of students working with the PRO? Because this way, it seems you are bringing in so many people. So, how many people work with the current PRO? And then perhaps if you tend to just reorganize the entire team or to bring in more people.
All right, thank you, sir. For this question as regards how many persons are working with the current public relations officer, and if I will be limiting it to that number, I won't actually be limiting because the truth is, University of Ibadan students are intellectuals. They are students that have skills that need to be annexed and used properly, which part of the structure that I have given out to, if elected as a public relations officer, including the public relations coordinators, whereby there will be specific persons handling each of our social media handles, each programs that I've highlighted in my manifesto, and each person is under this that are PR coordinators. We also have their own committee members. This is to ensure effectiveness in administration and executing each and every of these plans in my manifesto. Thank you. An estimate of the persons that are working with public relations officer is up to 400 students in the University of Ibadan.
Yeah. My question is this. You talked about the standard operating procedure under the public relations.
Sorry, sir, I can't hear you.
Okay, you talked about the standard operating procedures. Can you hear me? I'm not hearing you. You said you won't be personality dependent. Are you with me?
All right, sir.
So in full accountability, you talk about in the competition webinar, you talk about PR and media experts.
Yes.
How do you intend to separate your own subject in selecting these media experts? Whereas you have talked about the standard operating procedure that should be personality dependent.
All right, sir. The public relations and media experts are actually persons that will be interviewing, that will be training persons that have
those.
Yes, the public relations expert. I've reached out to the two former public relations officers, which includes the 2023-2024 public relations officer that I worked with personally.
How is he an expert?
He's an expert in public relations because he is well versatile in what public relations means.
What is the criteria for children?
All right. My criteria for an expert is someone who understands strategic communication, someone who understands what public relations means, how to communicate with persons, and ensure that this information is not only disseminated but properly understood by those that it was disseminated to.
Who is this?
Yes, sir. He asked me the qualities of what an expert meant. Do I understand the qualities of an expert? Yes.
Just highlight like
All right. The quality of an expert, the first thing is, I'll be taking it from that word itself, expertise. The person is well experienced, versatile, skillful, knowledgeable about this part that the person is an expert in.
I just define what an expert is. Like, what are qualities that make someone an expert in that field
All right, thank you. The qualities that make a person an expert in a field or in a career. The first, in public relations itself, because I thought it was general. All right, in public relations, what makes a person an expert includes the ability to use effectively social media platforms, the ability to disseminate information very, very well, perfectly, and effectively disseminate information
What
to
do
the
you
person.
use to gauge that the person has been able to disseminate information effectively?
All right, thank you. Part of what were the criteria that I used to assess the former public relation officer to be a PR expert includes the fact that I worked directly with him and I was able to say that he managed our social media platforms effectively, disseminating information via each and every of our social media platforms. And in fact, was able to verify our X account for us, which shows he is a person who is public relation
Okay.
expert.
So now, the case of late notification for Congress, what do you have to say on that? Regarding that the person is an expert.
In the case of
Late notification for Congress.
all right, in terms of late notification of Congress, more or less, this is an issue that might have happened in times past and administrations, but there must have been certain reasons why these notifications were actually sent late.
So the person is an expert in the able to disseminate information effectively.
All right, thank you. I will not be speaking for the person, but the truth, we are all humans and we are not without
You know
fault.
that one of the things that makes information effective is timeliness. Yes.
Yes, timeliness is a very, very essential quality of it. But now, in terms of disseminating information, it is the public relation officer, yes, gives out the notification of Congress, disseminating the information to all investors. But it is not the public relation officer that will actually initialize this action.
Thank you, sorry, thank you. Please go back to my initial question that what are the criteria you need to select those experts? And
Yes, thank you. As I've mentioned earlier, the criteria that I'm using to select this public relation expert includes viable use of social media platforms, effectiveness as regards communication, and dissemination of information amongst persons.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lasukono. Under your point 3.4, strategic communication and management, you mentioned something about your office being available 24/7.
Yes.
Okay. How do you intend to do this? You not be sleep or what?
All right. Thank you, sir. As to the availability of my public relation office being available 24/7, this is actually part of my own personal idea to represent and be available to attend to all University of Ibadan students' needs. It is not just about me not being sleeping, but the fact is my number and my office as the public relation officer will be open to all University of Ibadan students. That is also listed there in my plans that in terms of my office and my availability, it will be in an hybrid manner. An hybrid manner in the sense that it will both be online and also physically.
But you'll be available 24 hours.
Yes, Awufadijola Sukomi-Alabi would be available as a public relation officer.
Okay, you also mentioned something about confidential reporting or something. How do you intend to do
Sorry,
this?
sir, about what?
Confidential reporting.
All right, thank you. For confidential reporting, this is actually part of my student CCS report, whereby students will be able to talk to the public relation officer as regards issues that they might be having. This will also be done in collaboration with the House Secretary that is mainly in charge of welfare of students. We are all aware that truth is students might have certain things that are not aligned towards their interests, certain things that they wish to speak out, but they are uncertain, they are unable to actually speak or express, or even find the right medium to express that which is in their mind. That's what that hurts them. So I, as a public relation officer, will actually serve as a means of communication and as a medium between the students' union, the students, and the management.
Okay, so for record purpose, you've promised us that if you are you will not sleep throughout your administration.
Like I said once more, it is not just about sleeping, but I'm emphasizing it that Awufadijola Sukomi-Alabi, popularly known as Asiwaju, if elected as a public relation officer, will be available.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. You will never sleep. Please take note of it.
Please wait.
Good afternoon, Mr. Alasko. So, my first question, what's the union's narrative on fee hike? Fee hike.
V.
Fee hike. School fee hike.
My narrative on school fees.
The union's narrative on school fee hike.
Okay. begin once more.
What's the student union narrative on school fee hike?
Okay, this current administration or led by Covenant or Dedele auspicious time, their narrative on school fees hike actually involves the usage of NEL fund to solicit and ensure that students actually pay their school fees via the usage of NEL fund loan. And another is also they try to increase certain increases in school fees hike, like that of the Faculty of Tech that arose 50,000 utilities fees amongst many others, or for usage in their computer library. So their approach to student union fees hike includes that of calling congresses, making students be aware of the student's loan, letting them know its importance and how they can actually access this loan alongside conversation with the management. Yes.
What's the decision of the Congress about school fee hike?
Okay, the decision of the Congress about school fees hike is not actually one main way, but I'll be bringing it into two ways now. The decision of the Congress of the University of Ibadan Student Union. One is that the student union will ensure with the school management to the reduction in school fees, and I said it that this ensured and it showed in the reduction of fees of technology fees of tech fee, faculty of technology fee that arose 50,000 naira. And another approach is also that of NEL fund loan.
What's the decision of the Congress on school fee hike?
Okay, the decision of the Congress on school fees hike basically involves the fact that the student union says school fees hike it is not going to be acceptable within the University of Ibadan, and the student union will ensure that they represent the students' interest.
Was that the narrative you gave before?
So?
Was that the narrative you gave before?
Yes, my former narrative, which includes the student union NEL fund loan and the
NEL fund loan is not the narrative of the Congress. So now in your manifesto, you said that you are going to ensure that the union's narrative is framed by precision, which means that there's already a fundamental problem with the narrative of the union and the narrative of the executive council.
Please come again.
From what you say now, there is a fundamental problem with the narrative of the executive council and the narrative of the union. How do you ensure to solve that problem?
All right, thank you, sir. As the public relations officer, I'm to ensure that all the information that are disseminated are properly disseminated and publicized, and to ensure that they are understandable, clear, and concise to the student union community. How I'll make this to be properly done is there is factual verification amongst my plans here for effective dissemination of information. Factual verification, whereby I'll be able to verify each fact alongside the persons that are connected.
My question is, how will you ensure that the executive council narrative does not go against the narrative formed by the students' union body?
All right, thank you. How I will ensure this is making sure that working alongside my fellow executives, making sure that whatever stance that we'll be having correlates with that which relates to unionism and what the student body of University of Ibadan wants.
Are you promising us that?
Yes, I am.
And also, you said you are going to maintain a relationship with internal and external press and media houses. Can
Yes.
you mention the title of the last editorial written by UCJ?
The title of the last editorial.
Yes, written by UCJ.
Okay, the title of the last editorial written by UCJ will be towards the new the recently conducted election of UCJ, whereby they elected that was the last one that I read. I'm not certain about the last one that was released.
Editorial, not news. Editorial.
I wasn't able to access it, but let me say I couldn't get it.
So how will you ensure you maintain a media relation with UCJ?
All right, thank you. As the public relations
Don't
officer,
read editorial published by UCJ. Okay, what's an editorial?
what would be an editorial would be, let's say, a release from the press.
Okay, all right. So how will you ensure that you maintain a good or a media relation with UCJ?
Okay, thank you. Maintaining a good relationship with press houses and media houses alongside press, for instance, UCJ, includes there is a public relation officer in UCJ and there are also executives in UCJ who carry out the activities of UCJ, of the campus journalist activities, representing students' interests. And I believe both of us are actually in alignment because more or less our main goal is to represent students' interests. So partnering with them includes me maintaining a good relationship with the public relations officer.
So what you are saying now is that you are going to partner with UCJ PRO to do PR for the Executive Council. Is that what you are saying?
Well, in terms of effective dissemination of information on campus, the public relation officer is to work with each and every person that has expertise in terms of skills to public relations, media, and communication. Yes, sir.
So you are expecting UCJ to do PR for the...
No, I'm not expecting UCJ to do PR. There are certain instances whereby we'll be having press conferences, whereby we'll be needing the media houses to come and cover events of the University of Ibadan Student Union. For instance, now, if we are having Freshers Week, definitely the public relation officer can be interviewed on certain things that will be done, and alongside the Assistant General Secretary, whose major duty is the Freshers Week, to answer questions as to what will be done, the activities that will be done, carried out during the Freshers Week. So this is more or less
you
an
mentioned
collaboration.
press conference now, and you mentioned the Freshers Week. Are you promising us that there will be a press conference before the Freshers Week?
Okay, what I'm saying in the real essence is that there will be maintenance of good relationship between the public relation officer and the UCJ. So I was answering the question that in what way would UCJ be actually carrying out public communication, effective communication on behalf, working alongside the student union. It's not that I'll be using the UCJ directly to actually be disseminating information from the union. But the truth is, I said it earlier, that we are both aligned towards the same goal, which is what effective representation of students' interest.
You talked about social media enhancement. So my question is, how many social media handles does UISU have currently?
All right, thank you, sir. The University of Ibadan Student Union has all social media handles except the one thread. Listing them, we have Facebook, we have X, formerly known as Twitter, we have LinkedIn, we have our LinkedIn account, we have our TikTok account, and we also have our Instagram account. And also we have a University of Ibadan Student Union update channel in WhatsApp.
So how many followers does UISU have on X?
For our Twitter account, as at the time that I checked, which was earlier yesterday evening before I slept, the University of Ibadan Student Union X, formerly known as Twitter account, has 16,412 followers.
Facebook?
Facebook has 3,400 followers.
Instagram?
Our Instagram has this total of 8,062 followers.
TikTok?
Our TikTok has this total sum of 3,700 plus followers.
Under your execution strategy, under my WhatsApp, your number 2.4, illuminating union activities and accountability. So you talked about delegating responsibilities for each social media platform, at least 2-person team. Now, what are the criteria for choosing this committee or this team?
All right, thank you, sir. The criteria as to choosing this person that will be handling the student union social media account, they have already been listed out. Or let me say, one of the major ways that I would use to carry out this activity, as written down in the standard operating procedure, whereby there will be a public relations webinar, and alongside I and the person that are the PR experts that will be invited to handle this, we'll be letting them know, we'll be training them, these selected persons, as to their qualifications. And the certain thing is that there are persons within the University of Ibadan already that are even handling social media accounts. There are persons whose social media accounts actually reflect who they are.
You talked about qualifications now.
Communication.
Qualification. You said qualification. I mean, what are the qualifications?
All right. The qualifications that I'll be using to access this person that will be managing our social media account, one of them will be transparency, expertise in terms of, or let me say, foundational knowledge in terms of handling social media accounts, alongside me having a proper check at their own social media account. Because more or less, what a person posts out actually reflects what is in the person's background. More of these qualifications includes a sense of community service, whereby whatever you are posting is actually going to be transparent and reflect what students.
So are they going to get paid?
Am I going to?
Are you paying them?
Am I going to pay them? Well, more or less, I will be paying them, but not really in monthly salary or weekly salary stuff. For most accounts, that will be my own personal account. And payments for the public relations, for the coordinators of each of the social media accounts, like I said, it is not on a weekly, monthly basis.
All right, thank you so much. Under your manifesto 2.3, 2.3, the spotlight series on campus. Yeah, you mentioned here that you'll be bringing an initiative to illuminate the realities of campus life and provide clear visual evidence. Now, you mentioned here life in UI halls. Can you tell me the current state of UI hostels?
Thank you, sir. The current state of University of Ibadan hostels actually differs from each other. So we can't say that it is the same experience that persons in Rason Kuti Hall are having in the Great Independence Hall. But as for the realities that are being faced, that I can say are a bit general, includes the fact that water runs out the moment electricity also is turned off. So that is the current state of reality amongst the University of Ibadan students. Another will also be the issues and plight of bed bugs, always disturbing students in terms of sleeping, their beds, their bunks. So these are realities that are actually affecting University of Ibadan students.
Right. Which are you telling us now that after getting all this, you gather them together, edit these videos, and then put them on social media platforms?
All right, sir. This is a vital part of my plans, but it is not a one-way road. But I definitely assure you that the interest of the University of Ibadan students will be represented.
So, hold on. How are you going to do that?
Thank you. That was just what I was about to say. So how? In the form of what? A video that is documentary, whereby students' realities in university campus will actually will be illuminated. And what the union are doing to address these issues will also be presented. And it is not just about posting it out there on social media. It is about what impact will posting it out actually bring. Will there be any adjustment? Will there be any improvement? This will be done in discussion with the university management, letting them see that these are actually what is being faced by University of Ibadan students.
So all this process from getting to know what they are facing to conversing with the management, would everything be put out there online?
One major duty of the public relation officer that is in chapter 8, subsection 8 of the 2013 amended constitution, student union, is the first one is the public relation officer shall ensure that all activities of the union are well publicized. So I assure you please.
All right, thank you.
All right. What is your overall assessment, or let me say understanding of the press as the fourth estate of the world?
Press?
Of the press. The press as the fourth estate of the realm. What is your understanding of the press? Okay, let me make it easier. What's your understanding of the role of the press?
The role of the press. That is the function of the press. Okay, I believe the press role and function is contained in my light agenda that is divided between the echo and the light. The press function majorly has to do with illuminating certain activities, or let me say all activities that require student attention, that reflect student interest, letting the public know what is actually happening within the society. Let's say both vices and virtues that are happening within the society, representing persons.
Right, so let's move to the union. What are the challenges that you've seen associated with the Congress?
Okay, the challenges that I've seen, part of the challenges that I've seen associated with Student Union Congress involves let's say, effective dissemination of information first, as regarding the Office of Public Relations Officer.
That is not a challenge when you say effective dissemination.
Yes,
I'm talking about the challenges you've noticed. Okay, let me even make it easy again. Low turnout is one of the biggest challenges.
Yes,
How
thank
do
you.
you intend to solve that?
I was about to make mention of that as the second problem. Low turnout of persons. Now, as regards low turnout of persons for congresses, we need to be able to let students know that University of Ibadan Congress, Student Union Congress, is actually a place whereby their voices can be heard. You can be inside your room complaining that this thing is bad, that is bad, but more or less, it does not actually, you are not speaking to those that might be able to address the issue that is being spoken about from you.
All right, we need just, it's a learning moment for the AGS aspirants who failed to know the quorum needed. We need just 500 students to start the congress. But many a times, it has always been an equivalent task getting that 500. Whereas you just need to throw a party at the SUB, you can get 2,000 students. Do you think there is a conspiracy by student university to sabotage getting that quorum?
Thank you. I don't think there is a conspiracy by the student union to sabotage.
All right, so you are speaking from a place of authority for the current SUB, right?
From my perspective, as a person now, looking at the way the student union, current student union and Congress, I don't think there is a plan to sabotage it because I'm also involved more or less in this administration. For instance, as regards low turnout, I was there when, alongside the House Secretary, the former House Secretary who resigned, making sure that students are actually mobilized effectively to come down. We went down to Aru, to India, to let the students know that student union is ongoing and they should actually come to SUB and express and be part of the Congress.
So how do you intend to solve the turnout?
How I intend to solve it?
Through publicity, how do you intend to do it?
Okay, through effective publicity. When it comes to matters of Congress, the first thing is I will ensure an orientation to all students of the University of Ibadan, letting them know that Congress is a vital part of our unionism. Congress is a very, very important part, whereby you yourself, you have a role, you have a part to play. No one is dispensable. Each and every one of us, we are very, very important towards it. Now, as regards effective publicity and ensuring that persons attend and turn out in their numbers to congresses, working alongside the public relation officer of each hall, and making sure that at least 2 days or a day before that day of Congress itself, students are well aware that probably through physical campaign, because I'm not just a public relation officer, if elected, that will be working only online, but also through physical campaign, awareness campaign, letting them know through their public relation officer in their halls that Congress is happening tomorrow. Come and express your right. Come and exercise your right and express yourself. Thank you.
Right, okay. So you seem to be very interested in the image of the. Okay, so you seem to be very interested in the image of the student union, and I want to ask, what image do you think the faced walls and floors presents to people?
This is a very, very critical question, but I will first answer that of the faced walls. If you are to publicize your materials, you should not actually be defacing wall. I mean, in terms of election now, it doesn't really reflect a very, very good image.
Do you deface walls?
I don't.
You did.
I did.
You did. I have pictures actually, and I am going to bring them up.
Right.
You are Asiwaju for PRO.
For PR.
You did deface walls. You defaced the floor. You did. And if I
Yes, I made mention of walls, but for floors.
You defaced the walls. You defaced the walls. No, I don't want to impose it on you. I want you to tell me, did you
Accepted. I also accept my fault in
defacing walls? So why did you
defacing
say you
walls.
did not deface walls?
Ma?
Why did you say you did not deface walls?
Actually, I ensure strategic placement of each of my posters, but it was not each and every one of them that I was the one handling. So this was part of the reason why I was not aware.
After this posters have defaced the walls, right? And you said it was not you who handled it. When you found out that there were posters facing the walls, what were you supposed to do?
There were certain ones that I actually went there and removed myself personally. This includes the ones that is towards my faculty. I'm a law student.
The ones that are still up right now are the ones that are towards your faculty.
Actually, I have not been to my faculty since Thursday that I had my examination. Yes?
These posters have been up since before the exam started.
That means more or less it was when we actually did, we did another campaign.
And don't worry, and I also want to let you know that it's bad attribute of a leader to decide that when you are on the hot spot and being accused of something, you blame it on people that are under you. That's very, very bad.
I'm not blaming it on those that are under me. In fact, whatever is both their good or their bad habits, I'm the person that is actually in charge of them. So more or less, I take responsibility for it.
Okay, so second, you mentioned something about verifying that statements accurately reflect the consensus and best interest of the student body. How do you plan to do that?
Okay, this is part of my ensuring that whatever information is being put out there representing the student union interest and that of the student interest. How to ensure this involves factual verification, whereby whatever issues that we are putting out, whatever press statement or releases that we are putting out there, it is already verified. Each and every ideas, or let me say whatever we are putting out there is verified, and we ensure that whatever languages that we are using is also what's properly done and represents the interest of students.
I'm asking, how do you plan to ensure that the interest of students are represented? Because many a times in this administration and in past administrations, we have seen releases that have been under the administration have claimed or they claimed that it is the interest of the students, when in reality it was not. They just start one place, they wrote it and they let it out. So how do you plan to curb that?
All right, thank you. As how I will do this, there is a procedure in my manifesto that involves getting information from the University of Ibadan students. And first and foremost, if elected, before I'm a student union public relation officer, I'm also a student, passing through the realities that fellow University of Ibadan students are also going through. There will also be channels as to getting feedbacks, getting information from fellow students within the University of Ibadan community as to what is in their interest and what befits their interest.
Thank you very much. So, do you believe that, are you aligned with the idea that before we post online, we should actually think before we post, right?
Yes,
I am. I think like the SU has, I think there was a recent, without the PRO, the current PRO was doing that campaign of think before you post, right? Like, I think the current PRO, there was a period that was doing the whole awareness campaign of think before you post.
Yes, it is a recent campaign it is more or less been an intent as an organization. So it is a 11 days challenge. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, do you know, I want to now ask you, there have been several instances whereby it would seem that either the handler, because I want to point a particular instance and I want you to give me your own assessment of it. There was a particular time when they newly cleared out the Heritage Park, and then there was a kind of a rancor among students being divided as to if that was a good thing or a bad thing. But before there was a strong union position about what has happened, there was a Twitter post put up where that was making a joke of the situation, and that post had to go down eventually. So do you know the instance I'm referring to?
Yes.
You remember it?
Yes, I
do. So do you think that was actually a nice move by the PRO? Was that a...
All right, I will say that this, in fact, though it was posted, the issue about this is that it was posted before we even know the stance of the students, or let me say that of the students' union. So it was posted by the handler before we are able to verify the stance of that of the student. If it does not reflect the ideals and the interests of the students, it isn't.
Okay, but so that
and in fact, even if it does reflect the ideals and the interests of the students, it needs to be placed out there in words and in mannerism whereby it's actually reflects.
Okay, now aside from these two, there are also other issues like both on like the WhatsApp SU TV. There are some times whereby they post lots of sexual needs that may be, because I particularly have some screenshot that I sent to me, like, let me take one example. Okay, so on the UISU update, something was forwarded, said any active barber will fit come do room service for indie, and then desktop female barber or male barber, and then let's do female, she might want to pass the night. Don't you think that such kind of things are very offensive to the female students of the University of Ibadan to be spoken of in that kind of
Yes, such words in terms of their usage are very, very much offensive to University of Ibadan females and even in promoting gender equality. So those such words are offensive. But ways whereby I'll be able to prevent this from happening again have been listed out in my manifesto, whereby I will ensure that each handler that I'm actually picking to handle each and every of our social media platforms has been trained intensively in what public relations means, in how to actually disseminate information. Yes, the fact is our WhatsApp channel is actually more or less a way of growing followers and ensuring that University of Ibadan students are conversant with what is happening. So more or less jokes among many others can arise, but that doesn't encroach on the what on the right of each person as a male or as a female. So I will ensure that each and every of our releases and whatever is being posted out via the standard operating procedure, the public relation officer webinar is very done.
Good afternoon, Mr. Olasumomi. I just have one question for you before I ask that. What difference between professionalization and professionalism?
Professionalization and professionalism. Okay, for professionalization, that will include the fact that whatever we are putting out has been given.
I'm asking this based on your plan 2.1, professionalizing the publicity committee. So in that instance, what's the difference between professionalization and professionalism?
Okay, professionalizing our publicity.
You don't have to put it in context. What is the difference between the two?
Okay, the first one is professionalizing. This is an act whereby we ensure that whatever is being done is done in the highest standard possible. But professionalism itself is that the standard is attained.
Professionalization means you are setting a standard, right?
Yes.
You are talking about doing tests for those who would be wanting to join the publicity committee. That is professionalization. Professionalism is also setting a standard, right? So that's the difference between the two. That's where my question comes in. So your plans here is looking towards professionalization,
yes,
right? It becomes almost a profession for you to get into the publicity committee. So when you are doing tests, you are making it quite a rigorous process to get into the committee. My question is that what is the current recruitment process into the publicity committee? And when you are doing your professionalization, what about when you don't get enough people to function in the committee? What do you do? And what about students who might not be skill testing? They might not be professional writers, they might not be professional graphic designers and all of it, but they are looking for an opportunity to learn. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you, sir. Starting from the last question, I will make a personal experience. When I came into the school as a fresher, I was more or less an ordinary fresher also, trying to know what is what. Now, I attempted to work at the union level, but I didn't just become the publicity coordinator at 100 level. There were certain stages, there were certain things that I had to actually pass through, which includes effective publication, effective dissemination of information. So I won't be limiting this professionalizing of the publicity committee to certain few persons. Because even if those that meet the standard are not yet have met the standard are few in number. For those that might not have been able to meet the standard, there are different ways whereby they will also contribute to the union, and they are not just going to be static. There will be developmental programs. That is part of the public relations officer webinar that is there. So this is to ensure that for those that might not be able to meet up with the standard of professionalizing a professionalized publicity committee, they also get to learn the skills as to what this takes. And that's a part of how I actually attained the role of publicity coordinator despite being an 100 level student at the union level.
Thank you.
All right, so we're moving to the general question. So sorry.
All right, right now we have two questions here, and that's 7.5 each. All right. What's the difference between PLO and PRO? That's the first one. And well, as for the question of PRO, right? What's the UI equivalent of PRO in terms of the management now? US equivalent of PRO.
I will start from the last question. The UI equivalent of PRO will be the University of Ibadan Public Relations Officer. The name of the person is Mrs. Akinpelu Adejoke. Alright, then for the difference between public liaison officer and public relations officer. A public relations officer actually, I'll start from public liaison officer. Public liaison officer takes a role from that of the public relations officer, which involves being a medium, or let me say being an intermediary between the other party and this party, and ensuring that there is effective communication between both parties. Now, for public relations officer, it actually encompasses and goes beyond the role of a PLO.
What's the dichotomy?
Okay, what actually makes them be together is part of where I was saying that.
I'm not saying nexus, I think dichotomy.
Yes.
Difference.
what connects them together. I think
The
I don't see
difference
the difference
between
between them. One is actually a little bit dominated towards a particular side, but the other, which is public relation officer, encompasses that role and even more.
No, I will still say PLOs, as you said the other time, is connection.
Yes.
And coordination, right? But PRO is about public image and publicity.
Yes.
So that's the difference.
So yes, sir.
So you have 7.
He has 7.5. You got one answer correct. You can go have your seat. Thank you very much. All right, so we're moving. Please, is the aspirant for the sports secretary, is it around? All right. Okay, so we're moving to our next position. That's the position of house secretary. So can Tipashe, sorry, Oluwatimileyin, can you come forward? So you'll be reading your manifesto for 3 minutes and read your manifesto for 3 minutes and you will ask questions. So we'll be taking 4 questions for him and the panel will have the floor to take ask the questions. So please wait for me.
Good afternoon, esteemed President. Good afternoon. My name is Tifashe Oluwatimileyin. A PWL student of the Department of Archaeology, Faculty of Arts, aspirant for the position of UISC House Secretary. I'm an aspirant for this position on one clear belief, welfare must come with wisdom, structure, and real results. On this note, I present to you the House Common Agenda. This is my blueprint for a union that actually works and ready to improve our welfare as students of Professor Ibadan. Aside my constitutionality, I intend to achieve a 7-plan agenda, and they are health and wellness agenda. We all know that health is the foundation of academic excellence. When health welfare is implemented, every student thrives and will be successful. Second agenda is security. When we are fully secure, when we work perfectly in our security welfare, every student will be safe and there will be the issue of theft and other. Electricity directly affects our learning, reading, and safety. So I intend to work to improve this status. Price control and regulation, transportation, academic welfare, 7, and social health welfare. This is my agenda to improve our welfare as the aspirant for the position of UISU House Secretary.
All right, thank you very much. Pressman, please, if you have questions, you can signify by raising up your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can start.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Tifashe. So, one of your manifesto, one of the agenda is a regular scrutinization of cafeterias and inspection of food outlets. And something happened last session when the General Secretary went to EB Hall for price regularization. And there was a ruckus between the House Secretary and the students, the residents of the hall, about whether the House Secretary has jurisdiction in the hall to affect who's in the hall. So I want to ask, in the case that when maybe you went to an hostel to scrutinize their cafeteria or to inspect their food outlets, and they were restricted by residents of the hall, what would be your next line of action?
Thank you for that question. I stated in my manifesto that I will create a committee, that's fair pricing control and vendor assessment committee. This committee will include every representative from every hall to cover every student group. So member of this hall will be involved in this committee, and we will be giving information that we'll be coming to this hall tomorrow. We'll carry out an assessment on the cafeteria. So these are people that will give us go ahead to carry out assessment on this cafeteria.
Okay. Do you think this was not done by the House Secretary then?
It was done.
Despite being done, there was still restriction, there was
the residents of the hall were against the actions of the house secretary. So even if you do all these things you want to do, and that's you still have the same issue, what will you do to resolve it?
As the house secretary, my duty is to make sure every student is being carried along on the activity of my office. So I will collaborate with the executive council of this specific hall to talk to the students that this is something we need to do for their safety, for their hygiene.
If they don't agree, they will
definitely have to agree because the executive council is involved. These are the student leaders of that specific hall or faculty.
Mr. Tikashe, I have some questions for you. You talk about health and wellness agenda. You said the goal is simple. No student should feel unprotected, unheard, or uncared for. What are the care that you are selling to students? That's one of the questions.
The question is on health awareness, mental.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Awareness.
Together. And you talk about stigma. Can you mention some stigmatized students on campus, or that you know, or any stigmatized cases that you know that you want to address? And what's the relationship with Asidu Campus Network that you are partnering with? And for the water tank, the health minister from every hall, how do you want to make sure that they participate? The health minister from every hall. What if they refuse to participate in washing the tanks? Do you get my question? And you talk about by semester in washing the tanks. What do you mean by semester? Is it every 2 semesters or 2 times in a semester?
Thank you for the question. I will start by answering that kind of question. You said we have quite numbers of all, and I intend to introduce inclusivity. Private postgraduate hostels will be involved. Postgraduate hostels will be involved. All other hostels.
The postgraduate students. How do you intend that they will participate to come and watch undergraduate hostels?
Thank you. Like I said earlier, I said every hostel have student executive council. So I will involve the executive council, and this executive council has health ministers. The health ministers will be involved. Effective information will be designated to them, and they will be included in the group. That's tank washing committee. This committee will involve the health ministers, one, voluntary individuals that are ready to work, that are ready to contribute to the health well-being of every student. These people will be included in this group.
So you are putting this plan under voluntary something, right?
I make sure I said 8 ministers and 5 committee of 8.
Yeah, it's not compulsory, it's not mandatory, it's just
they will be told to come with someone that
and my question is now, if they refuse to, what are you going to do?
It's an issue that affects their hostel.
And if they refuse to, what are you going to do? If they refuse to, what are you going to do?
That's where communication comes in. We communicate to them. We let them know.
You have already communicated with them. That's when they refuse. Then what are you going to do? You communicated first. They refused. And then what's the alternative?
I let them know. Tank washing is an exercise that needs to be carried out. To avoid.
During your communication with them, explain all those things. You can't just communicate with them and come and overwash the tank. Don't give them the reason they want them to wash it. If they refuse, what are the other alternatives you are exploring?
What are the alternatives I'm exploring?
Yes. If they refuse to do
aside from the members of their order, the other members are voluntary people in this committee. They are some people that comes
the all leadership. Wait. You know the all leadership. So they are very vital in mobilizing the all members. So if the all leadership refuse, then you have 0 participation from the all members. So what are the other alternatives you want to explore?
Yes, I said, are we aside from members from
let me help you out. If they refuse, are you going to abandon the project?
No. There's always an alternative.
Okay, what's the alternative?
I have all of residents I'm representing. I can mobilize people from all of residents to make sure they can
what's another all?
Yes.
What's another all?
Yes, they can do their own best in case of female hostess.
Okay, under your electricity agenda, you identify the problem of system electricity on campus. Like electricity outage that is common on campus, you identify it as a problem. And you mentioned that there's usually lack of proper communication to students. But, okay, you stated how you intend to correct that, yes. But there's something that you are supposed to say that you didn't see. I didn't see anything of such in your manifesto. You didn't see anything about providing an alternative for students in any case where there is a prolonged electricity outage on campus. For instance, the one that has been happening since the last 3 or 4 days now.
I'm so sorry for that. I didn't get that. There's prolonged what?
Prolonged electricity outage on campus.
Okay.
So, like such as one that has been happening since the last 3 or 4 days now. Are you aware that?
In this place, so that the student can come temporarily to charge and charge other things that you need. And fast forward to necessary arrangements. I will communicate with the dean of students to ensure that this problem is resolved quickly.
Why did you not mention it in your manifesto? You don't want to be held accountable for it.
No, this one is not prepared about that.
Mr. Fashion, so under the security, you actually listed two problems. But there's another, under the security agenda, you listed two problems, but there's another problem that you need to take account, and I want to know your plan for that. Many students are being harassed by Abefele. What do you think about that?
Harassed by Abefele?
Yes.
I'll note that.
What do you think about it?
You said I didn't include that.
What's your perspective about that?
Perspective about that?
Yeah.
Abefele is a security organization that is meant to keep us safe in the rest of Ibadan. So
yes, but we have the other, we have it other way around.
I've not been exposed to this other one. I've not gotten any information about this. I work presently with the current house secretary. Never gotten any cases of harassment by Abefele.
During the inauguration of the current executive council, pressmen are being harassed by the security unit. So that's the case. So what's your perspective about it? I want to know what you think about that. Security men harassing students. And if you go to other faculties, during night readings and all, the security men, the way they treat students, it's as if they are criminals, as if they are bandits. What's your perspective about that?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's one notion I have is, before everyone being in executive council, press member, faculty president, there's one thing we are all students of the University of Ibadan, and that's comfort. Every student is important. Every student is valued. So, to correct this, I'm just an intermediary between school management and student union. I will ensure that no student is being harassed on any form, regardless of whatever is being. They are there to ensure our security, but we'll make sure that no student is being harassed on any form.
In a case that, assuming that we have a case of students being harassed by the security unit, how will you respond to that? Being the house secretary.
Being harassed by the security unit.
How will you respond to that?
Yeah.
Secretary.
I will go to the security unit office. I will make inquiries on why that happened, and if this is true, I will then take the case to the dean of students to make sure that there is necessary.
So you be a PR for the security unit.
What?
You will do a PR for the security unit.
So I said I will engage the security unit. I will engage them why this happened, and then upon finding out what happened and how the whole situation is assumed, I will come out with the case to the dean of students.
You will not call them out.
Call them out. Call them out.
If you later discover that what they did, they are at fault.
Yes, engaging them is a way of calling them out. I'm not engaging them on my own time. I'm engaging them alongside other people.
If you engage them, they will surely apologize to you, and that will be the end of the case.
I said it earlier now. Every student is valued. So harassment is not a case that should just go like through apology. As the house secretary, I'm not in a position to sanction the security unit. That's why I'll take the case to the dean of students. That is in charge of student welfare. I expect.
Fashion. Alright, so your agenda number 5, transportation. I want to know how feasible it is because you mentioned a problem, stated a problem about uneven distribution of transportation across campus. So like how feasible is this plan on liaising with the transportation, uh, people involved in the transportation? Like can you tell the keke man now that knows that if I go to this particular bus stop, I'll get more people to get in my keke than going to stay at or stay at a particular place where I won't get people to patronize me. So how feasible is this? How do you intend to convince them that okay, yes, they can actually provide even transportation across campus?
Thank you so much. The University of Ibadan organization is highly decentralized. So we have a committee, ICTC, Campus Transport Committee. I think like Mr. Ohajide. So he's the head of this committee and is in charge of this distribution of KKS, negotiating with them, telling them this is what to do, this complaint of the students. He's the one relaying the complaint of the students to that committee. So I will negotiate with him. I will make sure I tell him about the student complaint that there's uneven distribution of KKS, paths, and means of mobility in some areas, and then I will negotiate with him to ensure that these areas are being solved and they are being distributed.
Right. Supposing you negotiate with him, and then it's a different thing to negotiate with him, and it's a different thing for them to actually carry out this thing because they are the ones involved in this, and they are also working based on facts because they know that if they go here, they'll get more people to patronize them. So, like, what if, okay, when you are negotiating with the person and also the people carrying out this order, what if there are discrepancies in between this? So how do you plan to also solve that problem?
She exchanged the mic, so there was a break in communication. Can you communicate with me? I'm so sorry.
All right. After negotiating, after speaking with the person in charge of transportation in the university, and then communicating, after he communicates what you told him about transportation, even distribution of transportation, to the keke drivers and all, what if these people don't carry out these orders? What would be your next move concerning solving the problem of uneven distribution of campus?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. There's always a room for follow-up. I will follow up on this, and if I see that okay, this thing has not been corrected, then I will call a meeting again with them and involving the dean of students. I will have carried the dean of students along. That yes, sir, this is a complaint of the students that there is an uneven distribution of means of mobility in areas like Faculty of Pharmacy, Veterinary Medicine. I will communicate with him and will tell him this, and he will come on board to ensure that this is being corrected. Yes, I understand the reason why this is not being done because these people say whenever they go to that round, why coming back? You always come back empty-handed. So there can always be, or at least there should be few of these people that will go to junctions that students can come along, that will establish a bus stop.
So still on transportation, so there's a problem in which the current administration do not look at, and that is the habit of the transport workers wanting or go to long distance places because of the price and neglecting closer destinations because they are of lesser price, like SUP. So during rush hours, especially 7 and 8 a.m., the transport workers of the habit going to far distance, like Faculty of Tech, Agric, Pharmacy, and the rest, and leaving Faculty of Arts, SUP, Melambi, Bello, because it is just 100 naira. So what can you say to that?
Closer range
for
long distance. Okay. The thing is, I've noticed that longer range, like longer distance, make sure they take drop because they can't wait gather around to come together so that they can pay. So students do prefer taking drop to this longer route, and this they are business people. They know that this fee for the longer route pays them more than the one of the shorter route. So, and it's a peak hour. These routes are in demand, and people are going to this place and they are not ready to wait.
Are you defending them now?
No, I'm not defending them. Just you said, what can I say about this? So it's just a case of balancing. Just have to balance.
Is it right leaving, maybe let's say there is about 9 students going to SUB and we have about 2 people going to faculty of tech, and we have like 5 tricycles are waiting for faculty of tech students to come, leaving the 9 SUB students on the queue.
This is basically unfair, but there can always be room for balancing to ensure that yes, few we go to this longer route, longer destination, and a few we take people to this.
The question now is that how will you ensure that we did not have this case repeating in your administration, and whereby this attitude will be curtailed by your office? What do you want to do? What plan do you have?
The plan I have towards this is to ensure that there is balancing in this.
How do you ensure the balancing?
By communicating with them, by ensuring that this transport inter-campus committee ensures that there is a way these vehicles, this keke have been distributed to every route to ensure balancing.
Okay. Good afternoon. How can we make the SUB a safe fortress for price regulation? I'm going to give an example. In the instance of printing any document, actually, you would mostly see that students would not want to go to the SUB to print. They'd rather go to places like Zik or other places because it's cheaper there. Meanwhile, in other schools, you would see that, students would rather go to the SUB to print, and it should be so. The students should want to go to SUB to print because it's cheaper. So what would you do, or how would you make the SUB a safe fortress for price regulation? I just use printing as an example. There are other instances. So in the SUB still, you still see people that would ask for charges whenever we want to transfer and all of that. So how would you make the SUB a fortress for price regulation?
Thank you. In case of printing that you mentioned, there are some areas that print with 16 naira for black and white. They print 17 naira for colored. These people, they get their toner from somewhere. And I will make sure I communicate with the student union building to ensure that there are some people that are not in this student union building and they print for this social amounts. And they make profits even while printing that certain amount, like 16 naira, 17 naira for color, they still make profits. So I will make sure I ensure that these people are making profit and there cannot be discrepancy in prices. So they have to be a uniform price. I will communicate with them. I will call them into order as if elected as the House Secretary.
You can't just give us the buzzword and you call it to order. Walk us through the process of how you intend to call it to order.
Yeah, so I'll show them the cases of those people in places like Zik, Indy, that print 16 naira in black and white, 17 naira in colored. And this is not only one person. We have quite numbers of people that print this in this amount and they make profits. Definitely, there's a thing they are doing that makes them make profit. Why printing 16 naira, 17 naira in colored? So this can be inculcated by them too.
And you think that is sufficient? Like just showing them some people are printing it lesser, just showing them that is sufficient.
It's not sufficient, but I will need to listen to their own hand. Why they are printing in this social amounts and why they are printing in this social amount different from these people.
Well, everyone, we must come to the understanding that the students pressure. ASU, like the labor union, the NLC, and several other professions. What you do is you advocate for the interest of the member. When you speak with this university manager, I'm sure they will have their reason why you I should pay $1 million school fees. But you are concerned and your preoccupation is about your members. You must always advocate for what best suits their interest. So you say you want to use it to be assigned Okay, my question is on your fourth agenda, price control and regulations. You mentioned that you work on ensuring price control, fair pricing or something on campus when you come in. So my own question now is, like in the past years, or let me say in like previous years, we've seen a situation where student leaders across the faculties, also of residencies and others have made attempts at regulating prices on campus. For instance, in my hostel, it was even tried last two sessions, and it was even tried last session too. And in most cases, all their efforts are always like watered down by the school management. They will just come out and tell you that you cannot regulate price in a country where the market are not stable. That's what they will tell you. They will tell you that these vendors are getting their products from different places and the prices can never be like predicted or something. So let's say in the case you come in now and you now decide to regulate the price on campus or to ensure a fair pricing across the board. But while doing that, you reach out to school management to get permission or something and they tell you straight that you cannot do this because of this condition I've mentioned. What will you do, or how will you go about it to ensure your fair pricing promises are fulfilled?
I didn't get the last, just the last.
Like, how will you go about it to ensure the promise you've made to students to ensure fair pricing on campus is fulfilled?
So how do I intend to go to fulfill this promise? Yes, like as student union, as far as student union is concerned, is a body that represents the student interest. So make sure that no student needs goes on attempt to, or their complaint does not go ahead. Yes, students are complaining about unfair pricing on something on basic commodities like carbonated drinks. Yes, printing. They are complaining about that because some people print 16 naira in black and white, while some people print 20 naira black and white. So I intend to create a committee, that's fair pricing committee, and vendor assessments.
You don't understand what I said. You've done all that. You've done your assignments well, and you've come about the standard price or something for all of them to be following. But why presenting that to the management tell you that this thing that you are bringing will not be accepted because of the issue you have in the country or something. Are you going to abandon the plan without following it through again, or there's something else you will do to see that like your promise is fulfilled?
Before I start that, I will carry the students, the school management body along. That's the first thing.
If you are now stopped, will you stop it? Like if you are stopped from going ahead, will you stop doing that?
Why can't them along? Come to a resolution that yes, this is what we want to do. Because I can't just take a step by going to these people.
You know, I told you of instances where student leaders have been stopped before. That's happened before, and something I'm a witness of. They made an attempt at ensuring price regulation, and they were stopped by the management, and they could not do anything. So if you are also stopped, that's what I'm asking now. You are also stopped from doing it. What will you do?
It can always be an alternative.
Which alternative can you give us?
And this is by soliciting to these vendors. You come with the survey that yes, these are the prices of things that are done outside. These things that are being sold outside.
So just a follow-up question on what was asked earlier on price control. So on the standardizing fare system, the transport fare system, extra charges by these tricycles simply because you want to do transfer. Is there a standardization of price also for that? And also the extra charges which vendors across halls or vendors just across add to commodities. Is that also part of you trying to standardize the price and control that?
Yes. Mobility on campus is meant to be fair, and getting anything on campus is meant to be fair. So there should not be extra charges on getting anything. So this will be controlled.
So if there is an extra charge, for instance, now, what's the measure you are putting in place to ensure adequate justice is done to such?
There will be an anonymous body that anyone can report to on cases of maybe extra charges that have been collected from someone, and this retailer or this person will be engaged and asked why this after they have been all informed that there should not be extra prices on getting items.
So are you assuring students that when there is a particular vendor or sole transport fare tricycle driver would tend to violate such rule, adequate measures will be taken to ensure such doesn't repeat itself? And what are those measures, so to say, you are trying to put in place? You mentioned anonymous body. How is the process like, and how is the approach like? We've had the likes of you trying to mediate, you trying to talk to the people, engage them, but over time, that has not really yielded the result which we've been expecting. So what do you have to say to that?
What did I say to what?
Yes.
So also about the issue of price neglected and abandoned bus stops. He said you intend to revitalize it by bringing the stops into full operation. You didn't even say how. So how do you intend to do this? How do you intend to do this?
The major priority is retaliation of the neglected cost across campus. We have strategic points. And
yeah, how do you intend to do it?
I intend to this. We all know that these places have been neglected.
Yeah.
Basically because of the fact that they are long distance. We have one at pharmacy, we have one at best, we have one at education. That is meant to serve all these people. I will involve the ICTC, intra-campus transport committee.
Did the current house involved there?
Sir?
Did the current house involved there?
Yes. So
why didn't it work?
Sir?
Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? His idea to
it started at some point. It started at some point.
So why is it not longer working?
They do not gain profits going to this route because when you go to they complain that when you go to this route, coming back they do not have customers.
So how do you intend to solve this?
I will ensure that if there's even distribution and activation of these box stops.
So back to the issue of electricity and water problems. So according to you, when there is no light, there is no water. So what do you think can be done so that when there is no light, students can still have water?
Yeah, we got all managements. Like yesterday, we all know what happened yesterday to today. There was no water, but Dean of Students communicated with all management to ensure that they provide generator. That was through the office of our secretary. He communicated with the Dean of Students to ensure that there is provided generator to ensure that the pump water is on.
That's a temporary measure. What do you think can be done to solve this issue permanently?
To solve this issue permanently.
So that when there is no light, students can still have water.
There is no permanent solution to solve this because water gives us electricity. They have to be water. Student does not fetch. They have to electricity.
We just have to keep enduring. We just have to keep enduring it. So when there is no
not
light,
enduring. A solution will be provided, and that solution is ensuring that there is a generator at every hall of residence that pumps water.
So from your own point of view, having generators in the area.
It solves temporarily till when the electrical cost is being fixed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tifasho.
Good afternoon, sir.
So you have plans on activating emergency medical hotlines and broadcasting this hotline. So why do you think they have not been activated and publicized yet? Why do you think this has not been done yet?
Yes, yeah, it has not been.
You plan to activate and then publicize these health hotlines. That's your plan, right? So why do you think this has not been done yet?
It has been done, but I think the University Health Center said this. I think this number was being changed, and the ministers of the health ministers of everyone does not have information that these numbers have been changed.
Okay, looking from this, I don't think you made proper research about this because the last, just to set things clear, the last House Secretary, not the one who just resigned, the one before him, yes, I had a conversation with him via the UCJ, and he had these similar plans also, which did not go as expected. And the reason was that Jaja cannot sufficiently run a hotline facility because they have limited staff. So I'm kind of expecting how you intend to solve that when this is exactly your same plan as somebody who did it some part ago. So I'm just pointing out that I think you did not do quite a lot of research about this. While it's a laudable idea, I think you should address the problem it actually be.
Yes. We have the Health Advisory Committee, and this committee involves health ministers, voluntary health students, students that studies medical, in the medical field. This committee are in charge of attending to medical issues. So from this committee, we have an hotline on ourselves that students can call in cases of emergency. And when students call this number, then we carry on the process.
Okay, so moving to the general knowledge.
All right, I have two questions for you. So, I have mark each. You get the point. All right. What is the UI motto and its meaning? UI motto and its meaning. Yes, and the meaning of it. And second one is that who is the first indigenous VC of UI?
First,
indigenous Vice Chancellor of UI.
Start with the first one, the motto of UI and its meaning.
I think that should be extra separate funds.
The meaning.
Come again, please. How do you call it? Yeah, Muto.
Let me give you the mic.
Extra separate funds.
He said retrace.
Extra separate funds. You know that this is not an English language.
Alright, press me.
The meaning. The meaning.
He did not get it now, that's not.
The meaning. Let me say the meaning.
Okay, what's the meaning?
I don't know the meaning, please.
Okay,
We
next
got it
question.
wrong. Alright, we have, who was the first UI indigenous Vice Chancellor?
Indigenous Vice Chancellor.
Yeah, sure.
I have no idea.
Alright, thank you very much.
Alright, that's the first indigenous Vice Chancellor is Kenneth Dickey.
Okay, so
Kenneth Dickey. And then we have, that's Recte Sapere Font. That's to think straight is the fountain of knowledge.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Tipashe Oluwatimileyin, he came 109, so he was late. And I don't think he took excuse. So, next up, we'll be going to the presidential aspect. But they're just going to be going through their manifesto. We're not going to the debate yet. So please, Adeboye Timidayo and Olawoye Emmanuel, kindly step forward. Okay. Okay, they both came early. Both of them came early. So you read your manifesto for 3 minutes, and then you ask questions. So you can.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone, the members of the press and the electoral committee members available here. My name is Ola Oyetawe Emmanuel. I am a 300 level law student and an aspirant for the position of student union president. So being here today is actually to present my manifesto, which is themed the eminence of a conscious union. The eminence of a conscious union is built on the need for the consciousness of the union to be in the heart of our students. Over the years, there has been an improvement in union activities and all, but one thing it's lacking is its consciousness in the mind of our students, which we seek to enforce if given the opportunity to serve. So my manifesto is actually built on welfareism, human capital development, partnership with Sisters Union, and changing the face of the union. So as regards part of welfareism, we seek to make an improvement on water supply and reliability, electricity and power supply, accommodation process and security, health and mental support. Then we also seek to touch the aspect of mental health support, security, safety, and also to create a bursary scheme for our students. So as regards part of human capital development, we seek to help and orientate our students on how to make research and how to apply for grants, which is actually the benefits of the research we make our students. So the last part of my manifesto, so another part of my manifesto is partnership and association with students with external bodies, organizations like NAS and NAUS. We intend to be in a good relationship with external bodies so as to advocate for the interest of our students more effectively and more efficiently. And the last part of my manifesto is actually to changing the minds of people about student union. Over the years, the mind of people towards the student union is being a body that actually focuses alone on aluta and to create disturbance or violence around school. So we intend to bring more innovative and to also change the face of the union in and outside the university and across national borders. So these are the blueprints of my manifesto, which is themed the eminence of a conscious union. Thank you.
Good afternoon, pressmen, observers, British rights. My name is Adiboye Timdayo, popularly and politically addressed as Deboye, a 300 level student from the Faculty of Arts from the Department of European Studies, BA German, BA Russian, and a presidential aspirant for the Student Union election, University of Ibadan. Today I present the Diligence Movement blueprint, where we have development. First, we are going to ensure IT placement support for students. Second, we'll be launching the Union e-library just to ensure that we have easy access of students to academic support system to ensure balance in academic growth. For E, where we have inclusion, we'll ensure sports inclusion and development, where under that we'll be having the Union Sports Festival, which is going to focus on sports that has been on isolation. We'll move on to persons with disabilities, where we'll be having provision for mobility support, and most importantly, special budget allocation to them. We move on to the postgraduate students, where we'll be having orientation, and most importantly, help desk for the development of our new postgraduate students into the University of Ibadan. We'll move on to the Alexander Brown Hall, where we'd also encourage and ensure the continuation of the participation in union activities. We'd also ensure that we have the extension of the union activities to the Alexander Brown students, the medical students, and the artists. They would also ensure that their welfareism as regards to electricity, as regards to water supply, as regards to leakage system, they are adequately advocated for, and ensure that they are also included in the activities of the union. Moving on to the off-campus students, where would ensure the launching of an off-campus link initiative. This would ensure a channel for awareness and security. Moving on to private hostel, what would ensure engagement with the hostel owners, just to ensure reasonable extension, especially during when their payment is not favorable to the academic calendar. We move on to leadership and student advocacy, where we have orientation on unionism and the student union at large, because this is where we have to be conscious of our union first. This is where we have to ensure that we incorporate and imbibe the students to know the main purpose, the aims and objectives of the union, so we can all stand in togetherness, we can all stand in diligence to fight for this goal. Now moving on to infrastructure and general welfare, where we ensure price regulation scheme, would advocate for prompt room allocation at the start of the session. That would be during the visitation to the all wardens. Would ensure that we table this down and further student welfareism to this, so that we, students of the University of Ibadan, would have a very perfect intake. We move on to growth and opportunities, where we ensure collaboration and continuation of artist community coming on board to ensure our social life, and most importantly, our creative life on campus of students is not dead. And would also move on to empowerment and entrepreneurship, where we'll be having something very interesting and to be very impactful for our students at large. It's something I would call it the Union Market Days. Thank you so much.
Okay, before we give the other person a chance to ask questions, I have a question for Mr. Deboye. However, before I ask that question, I need you to confirm two things. Last session, when you were standing here as an aspirant for the position of House Secretary, you were asked about the defacing of walls and the ground. What was your response, please?
I took sincere apology for that, to ensure that I and my team made a very big mistake, and we ensured we...
Have you been defacing the walls?
To my best knowledge, no, we didn't.
Well, I think it is very interesting that at this point you took it a step further and you went to Agbowo to deface the walls.
As regards to that, I sincerely apologize to, because I also
I don't
went
think
to
it's
church.
about apology at at this rate, right? Because last session you also apologized. You apologized in this session. I don't see towards end.
I take sincere responsibility for that, and I would ensure moving further we abide fully by
Do
the
you
school.
think, now I want you to be very sincere, do you think there is something actually wrong with the facing the walls?
Yes, there is actually. It's not. It would even um, it would affect the beauty of the community itself. I mean, and that's one of the
So
things.
I'm not asking for an apology now. I'm asking what exactly, why or what is the reason your, should I say you and your team members have repeatedly, over the course of the last two sessions, repeatedly defaced the walls, even after you have been called out?
Just like I said, I take full responsibility, and I want to ensure that was a mistake from our side as a team. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question before they move. Before we move to other president's question. So my question is to Emmanuel. I'm sorry, Eminence Emmanuel. So you said people in the University of Ibadan, outside the University of Ibadan, have seen the union as a place where we just shout aluta and we cause trouble. So
Great violence. That
we
was
create
the
violence.
example.
So I have series of questions for you, but like the first question that came to my mind was, what exactly does student union do? Like what are they meant to do? Why was student union created?
And sorry, in addition, how do you know so far over the years that the student union has created violence, like you said?
So, thank you very much for the question. So, I will start with the first part of our question, that what is the role of the student union? Ideologically, the role of the student union is to protect the interest of our students. We, our student union executives, are responsible to our students because these are the people we claim we want to lead. But however, if we look at history and recent happenings of unions outside, even outside the university, people conceive the mind that the only thing the union does is not actually like to bring on board initiatives that are more substantial. So we intend to not just protect the interest of our students, but also to bring on board initiatives that will put the student union's image in a place whereby it is regarded and respected even outside the university.
So I said as you have not answered my question, how do you know, like in what instances has the union created violence?
Okay, so I would make instances to a very, very long time ago during the period of military rule. We've had stories that the unions. We've had stories that student organizations, even outside student organizations, not in the University of Ibadan, are actually tools and instruments people use to actually get some of their acts done. So we intend to focus on shaping the lives of our students, bringing on board initiatives that actually paint the beauty of our union, even to the outside world.
Okay, so I'm happy that you actually went backwards to military, because when you say we're not just focused on Aluta and some of those other things, I look at it and say, I think this past few administration, apart from when we had protests, and I'm sure that it was not violent, it was the student populace coming together to speak as one voice. So apart from that, I've seen that we do mostly parties and other activities are not even the reason why we are here for. So what made you come to this conclusion? What recent happening made you come to this conclusion that it is your administration that will bring in initiatives that make the students not look like as if it's just here for violence?
All right, so thank you very much. One thing I want to point out is while making my statement, I didn't put emphasis on the University of Ibadan Student Union. I put a general emphasis on what people have in mind, not controlled by only actions that is happening within the university, but even actions that happens in other places and based on history. So the funny thing is people still have the mind and history of these things in their mind, and we seek to make an improvement and to make a changes to the conceived thoughts that people already has about anything called unionism.
Okay, good afternoon. So my first question is to Mr. Emmanuel. And one of your plans is engagement with sister unions. And when you were contesting for the position of Assistant General Secretary last year, you also have something like this in your manifesto. So I want to ask, as the Assistant General Secretary, what have you done so far in the course of engaging with student unions, with sister unions of the University of Ibadan Student Union? Then also in your plan, you have something on the UISU League. I want you to elaborate more on that. And you also said you want to change the perspective of the union. So my question is, at the moment, what is the perspective of the union? And why do you think there is a need for us to change the perspective of the union?
All right, so thank you very much.
Hold on. So, and also on your plans for bursary, and this question is also addressed to Mr. Adeboye, because the two of you have plans on, you would have plans on bursary. So how will you ensure that the beneficiaries of this bursary, they are truly indigent students? And how will you ensure that these students, in a case that they apply for NEL fund and their loans for NEL fund have been approved, what will you do? Will you still proceed to give them the bursary, or you will find another beneficiary for them? Then to Mr. Deboye, also, one of your plans is routine tap washing in halls of residence, and you said you want to partner with Rotaract and JCI. Well, I don't know, but as a member of JCI myself, you can never tell me to come for a tank washing in a hostel. That's not my business. And I want to ask you, are you a member of any of these organizations? Then you also have plans for prompt room allocation at the start of this session. How will you ensure that students get allocation, and also not every UI student will be able to get rooms, will not be allocated rooms in the hostel? What will you do for students like this? Then my last question on the strengthening of the work and study scheme. Do you think there is in the University of Ibadan students are well informed about the work and study scheme?
Good evening. To Mr. Emmanuel, about engagement with sister unions. I can remember very well that there was a time that there was a consensus on this campus within the student community that UISU should stop participating in finance, because the association has, as at that time, the association was not useful to UI students, useful on code. And since then, I don't think there is any substantial change in the way NANS and other sister unions behave. So, what's the goal of your engagement now? Is it your goal that to convince the leadership of NANS and other associations that have reached that point of neglecting students? But, so that's my question. And then to Mr. Adeboye, on nurturing health and security, he wrote medical check-ups for freshers during Freshers Week. Is it not a duplication of what the university health services are already? Okay, let me start again. On nurturing health and security, he wrote medical check-ups for freshers during Freshers Week. So I know for a fact that Jaja requires every new student to take a lot of check-ups, X-ray, this and that. So is it not a duplication of the entire thing? And do you think students will be willing to go over the process again?
Okay, please answer those questions that have been posed out to you.
All right, so there was a question asked again about the the perspective of the union. So serving as a member of the current auspicious team, I remember vividly there was a time we visited a big man, an alumni of the university, Barrister Eniola Jamiu, an international man. So he made mention to this conversation that even across national boundaries, boundary, and even inside the national boundary, most people still feels like the union does not do something that are more creative and innovative. So what I meant by the word I said earlier was not actually as a result of what is happening, but as a result of the history that the people has in mind. And if you look at the University of Ibadan Student Union in recent years, the University of Ibadan Student Union has been able to bring on board initiatives that are already putting the university's unionism in a good shape, even to the eyes of people within and outside the university system. So what I mean by that is to continue with that initiative and to also bring on board initiatives that would also paint and put outside the beauty of our student union. Why everybody should put the union at heart, and why everybody should see the union as an intellectual body that is meant to actually create initiatives and implement initiatives for the betterment and for the betterment of the welfareism of our students. So the second question asked was URSU League. One thing I knew the sports secretary was able to do this session was actually an improvement in sports. If we look at the activities of the sports secretary throughout this session, he has been able to make an improvement in sports, and he has been able to bring on board sporting activities that are initially not well open to our people. And one thing I knew he wanted to do was actually a URSU league that brings on board all of residents on campus to come and play in the same league. But as a result of the time frame, we were not able to do it. And I'm making a promise that if given the opportunity to serve, we'll continue with these initiatives by actually initiating a URSU league that brings together all of residents on campus and to also foster our brotherhood as hostels on campus. So on the third question as regards bursary, I think the question asked was, how do we actually know indigent students? This session, the auspicious team were able to organize a bursary scheme for our students, and the selection process was actually the perfect one because there was an interview process based on the pressing needs of our students. So we intend to make an improvement on this and to ensure that this fair process that has been used in this current administration is what we continue to ride on to actually ensure that the students who will be getting our bursary scheme are students who are actually in a pressing need and are well deserving of these bursary schemes. So the next question is an engagement with sister unions.
Can you go fast?
All right, thank you. Yeah. So the next question was engagement with sister unions, NAS, and AOS. Earlier this session, one of the things we've been able to do as regards engagement with sister unions was actually to attend events and seminars and activities of NAS and NAOS. One major one I remembered was the seminar at Lagos by NAOS Southwest, which is actually to speak on the welfareism of our students and a reduction in tariff. So our sister unions have proved in recent times to actually have initiatives that is focused on the betterment of our students. So when I mean engagement with sister unions, I mean engagement with sister union in the promoting of these initiatives since it affects the interest of our students. So the next question is, I think that's all the questions that have been asked so far.
All right, so thank you so much for those questions. First, the question on bursary. It was asked how to ensure the indigenous students get this bursary, right? And in doing this, we would utilize the decentralized platform where we'll go through the all of residents and the faculty, also faculty representative, all of residents representative, where we would give them these tags to ensure that they look into their halls, they look into the students in their halls, in their faculties to pick themselves and send the list to the union level, at union level, where we can effectively ensure that the leaders there know their people very well. They've been living with them, they are always seeing them, and hence they'll be able to give us the students that really need this. Moving on to students that you said probably have gotten the NEF fund and might also wants to secure the bursary. I think that would have to be are the part of accountability and transparency from the leaders we are ensuring to handle this for us. And as a leader that's promising accountability to all students, we ensure that we look into these things and we are not giving students that have obtained the net fund loan. Moving on to the room-to-room and the prompt room allocation question at the beginning of the session. What we are going to do is, during the early resumption of the session, during the visitation with all wardens and all of that, would have this thing tabled to them to ensure that they look into it as fast as possible with other students' welfareism, so that our students will not get left out while academic session has begun. Moving on to the third question, where it was asked, do I think the students are well informed about the work and study scheme? Not really. Majority of them are not informed, and that is why I said strengthening the work and study scheme, what would make proper publicity, proper orientation about students, so they cannot just get to work for themselves, to gain for themselves, but they'll even get the necessary experience to build themselves as they study on campus. Moving on to the town question exercise, I said my manifesto, where I said it's going to be implemented a all-by-all town question exercise once every semester in collaboration with the civil group. So I'm not expecting that a member of those group or the group themselves go out there to watch the tanks. It's just a necessary partnership to give the visibility, the assurance, and most importantly, the hygiene of the activities we are doing. And as regards to the last question, which is on nurturing health and security, where you asked the question about, is it not duplicating the duty of the university student clinic, Jaja? No, it is not, because most of the students at that point in time where they get to rush to Jaja have not even resumed on campus. And we're doing this is just as a union, supporting the students, ensuring they do the necessary vitals, blood pressure test, and ensure they're academically fit to run the affairs of the session. Thank you so much. Yes, over the years, we've seen that happen. In fact, the last Student Union week, we had Health Day, and I saw a couple of students attended. In fact, I also attended. A lot of people donated and all of that. So yes, I'm very sure they will.
Good day. Hello, sorry. My first question is for both aspirants. Can you kindly outline your campaign activities in the College of Medicine UI? Can you outline your campaign activities in the College of Medicine UI?
Sorry, I think you meant campaign activities in College of Medicine, University of Ibadan. All right, so thank you so much for that question. Campaign activities that we've had at the College of Medicine, University of Ibadan is necessary pushing out to them first, not even just to campaign, but to understand them personally, to see them, and to ensure that this is a promise to them. And that was what I stated earlier when I was reading my manifesto, to ensure that we extend the activities of the union down to that venue, and to ensure that the continuation of their involvement in the union activities continues also. Yes, it might be possible, but I've been to ABH very, very well. As at the day before yesterday, I was still at ABH. Thank you so much.
Are both of you aware that there are no posters from any presidential aspirants?
I purposely didn't do that because of one of the things I learned from that session mistake, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
No, because you don't even reason us enough to deface our walls. Like, I swear, like, you don't even mind like that. Just put sticker on the mirrors. People don't know that there's an election currently in ABH, and actually, like, people are so disenfranchised, like, to the extent that people are refusing not to vote in these elections because they don't feel like there is zero campaign activity in ABH currently.
Even in UI.
Are you guys like, is Comula still part of UISU?
Yes, they are very, very much involved in the activities of the union, and it's still even valid
with my manifesto. Thank you so much.
Okay. I like that you're bringing up this manifesto. Okay, these two fat manifestos. In Emmanuel's manifesto, there's one line, there's one sentence, there's one phrase. Students as ABH is a subheading of something. That's all as regards ABH. In WA's manifesto now, you're outlining your first point is encourage participation in union activities and ensure the extension of union activities to medical students. That's the limit of it. How are you encouraging participation of APH in union activities without even campaigning in APH?
All right, so thank you so much for the question. All right, so as regards to the campaign in APH, well, yes, I've always been to APH, and just like I said, I was still in APH 3. Sorry,
Emmanuel also answer.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you very much for the question. So one major thing that actually puts us in a good position to make our campaign activities in a particular place is to actually know what they are facing and what they seek to get from an administration. So after making a survey on the issues that affect our students in APH, we made our campaign activities to actually deal with what affects them, which is one of the things is the fact of the health whereby they have to come down to the university to get treatment. And talking about our campaign activities, we did that by reaching out to stakeholders of the College of Medicine, reaching out to them one-on-one, enlightening them about what they seek to get from the union we are preaching to them. And also sending our e-flyers to them.
Sorry, e-flyers do not account for everything, and the stakeholders are not the voters of ABH. They're not the only voters. And just finally, for both aspirants, at the moment, how many hours of light are there in ABH?
How many
hours of light per day in ABH?
So, why I might not be able to make an exact figure out of our assessment, we still one thing is we still know is that there has still been an issue with electricity supply at ABH, and one thing we intend to achieve, if given the opportunity to serve, is to seek to the problems of electricity issues in ABH, report to the appropriate quarters, lobby the school management as to why there is an electricity shortage in ABH, and providing solutions to these problems. All right, thank you so much for that question. Those were the major things I did personally when I went to ABH, which is what, not just campaigning, but knowing the problem they are facing as students of this University of Ibadan. And according to, as regards to the lights that you asked, from my conversation with them, they told me 4 hours lights they've been having for a day, for 24 hours. Sorry? Yes, definitely, and that was why I said I initially didn't go there to campaign, because we can't campaign to people we've not had connection, not just connection, relationship, but then understand their problem. And that was why the campaign there has not been fully ethic, because the major reason why I've been going there was to understand them and ensure that our promise is to advocate and ensure those things are properly advocated for.
I'm not convinced at all. And ABH voters are not convinced. You guys will see the accreditation numbers or the voting numbers this Saturday. The numbers from ABH will be abhorrent as usual. Like, there is a problem about political participation in the College of Medicine. And in failing to recognize that as a serious problem, I don't see what you're bringing to ABH. Like, no, because it could be a matter of just hand over the medical students to UCH Students Association and see that UISU is not responsible for them. To make this thing clearer, because as far as I'm concerned, there is no participation from UISU in ABH, and it doesn't look like it's set to change this year. for the fact that you guys don't even deem it fit to campaign in English. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Sorry, before you answer that question, please ask your question.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. The two of you have plans for persons with disability, but my question is particular to Mr. Emmanuel, and it's from your mandatory executive inclusion about a representative or
Sorry, please, could you come again with the question?
yeah, okay, under persons with disability, you said you have mandatory executive inclusion as your plan, whereby a PWD representative will be co-opted as an executive member of SRC. As much as that sounds like a very good plan, however, we still have an issue whereby persons living with disability cannot access our SRC chamber. And you intend to include one of these people as representative at SRC. Doesn't that sound somehow against logic? These people cannot access SRC because of the staircase at SUP. So how do you intend such individual to be able to attend the SRC sitting?
Yeah, all right, thank you very much. Now, if we talk about what the word disability means, disability is...
Sorry, you answered two of those questions. He asked one, the guy in black asked one, and then, so you're answering two questions.
Come again.
You're answering two questions. The guy in black asked the question, and the other guy, I'm sure that you're supposed to have noted it down.
So I would like to start with the question from the people with disability. So like I was saying earlier, if we are to talk about what the word disability means, it doesn't necessarily affect people that cannot walk. We have various forms of disability. We have people that are affected with their legs, we have people that are affected with their heads, and we have people affected with other disabilities. So when we mean by representatives of people with disabilities, one major thing that we must not exclude from anything we have in mind is that the interest of the people with disability is a minority interest, and we really have to create a system whereby their voices will be heard. Earlier this session, there was an inclusion of representatives for people with disabilities in the House, and we intend to continue with this, and we find a way to have representatives with them. Now, directly to the question he asked, that can someone with clutches, also can someone with disability actually come to represent themselves at the chamber? It's not necessary to have an individual with clutches or an individual that would experience difficulties in getting to the chamber. All that matters is to have a representative that has their interest in mind, and a representative that can actually be there to tell everybody what their need is and where we actually need to come in to attend to these needs.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think the spirit of the question is that beyond the regular opting of people with disability, because in just now in your explanation, you're trying to say that, oh, it's not just about the people that they have mobility issues that you're talking about, but like the idea behind the question is the fact that the SUB today, as it is, it's inaccessible to those people with disability, with mobility issues. Now, over the years, we have not seen anything to change that, despite the fact that every time they co-opt people with disability into the legislative house. So we're saying that what's there from the both presidential candidates, is there anything on ground to change that? The idea is like, what's the spirit behind like making facilities around the school more accessible to them, rather than just merely using them as a signpost and saying we did include people with disability and so we have done what we have done.
All right, thank you very much. I think one thing that makes people happy is when you actually regard and respect them. And one thing we intend to do to actually ensure to these people that their interest is best taken care of is to actually celebrate the Day of People with Disabilities, which is on December 3, and also, like I said earlier, I said it's not necessary to have people with mobility issues to come down to the SUV building, since we know the SRC chambers is on a story building and not on a ground for them to access. So what I'm saying in general is that we don't have to bring people with disability to come and respect these people. we can have people that are not with disability to actually come and respect and protect their interests at our SRC chambers.
All right, just before the general knowledge question, this might be a teachable moment for most of us when you are in international platforms and a lot of places where discussion about equity and inclusion is being mentioned. The word people with disability is not appreciated and it's not complimentary. People with special needs is more appropriate in this context. Thank you. So the general knowledge question, please.
Okay, you have question 1 to 3 to pick. So you can pick between 1 to 3. So which one you pick? You go first. Eh? You have 1 to 3. Question 2. Alright, how much is Nigeria's budget for education for the year 2025?
It's in trillions. I don't know the exact figure.
I think it's in naira. He got it wrong.
Number 3.
How many percentage did UNESCO recommend to education for developing countries?
Sorry, repeat.
How many percentage did UNESCO recommend to education for developing countries?
60%.
60%? Wow, that's far. It's 50 to 20%, and for you it is 7.8%. That's 3.5 2 trillion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, thank you. You can go back to your seat. Okay, so yes, they'll be coming back for the presidential debate. And then CJs can ask their questions during their time. You can go back to your seat. You will come back for the presidential debate. They both came early. I mentioned it before, they both came early. Before we go to the aspirants for treasurer, because that's the next phase we'll be going to. Before we go to the next phase, please, I want to plead with us that we should please, aspirants, have your seat. Stop moving around. This is actually meant to be a very, very, very formal way of, process. So please have your seat. Don't move around. If you really need to do anything serious, then you can actually decide to go out. But please, this constant moving around is not maintaining decorum. Thank you. All right, so we're moving to the aspirant of the treasurer. Yes. So can we have Ode John and Shobowale Victor?
All right, Press Minute, please. Concerning the questions you have the other time, you can write them down. So it's going to be asked during the presidential debates. The questions we have for the presidential aspirants, please do wait to write them down. So it will be asked later. So I will collate the questions.
Okay, so you both have, you have?
For the exercise that was given to the GenSec, so he wrote the essay, and the essay was graded based on mechanical formality and content. And after being graded by 5 different people on the panel, it all added up to a cumulative of 52.2%. Now, the essay that he had written will be published on the UCJ site as an article, so for all to read that.
All right, so we can go ahead with your manifesto. We are having just 2 minutes to present your manifesto. Okay. So your time starts now.
Yeah, good day everyone. My name is Ode John, a final-level pharmacy student, and I'm contesting for the position of the Student Union Treasurer. Straight to my manifesto, my vision rests on 5 key pillars. 1. Upholding transparency and accountability, which is the most and the foremost brand of a treasurer. I will ensure that every couple is well documented. I will ensure accountability, which aligns with the Constitution. Number two, to be very fast, strategic partnership, two fundraising scheme. Strategic fundraising, two partnership, and fresh start initiative. This is a transition from infrastructure burden to a non-infrastructure system of generating revenue. And this can be done by leveraging on strategic partnership and fresh start initiative. What this gets us is company be able to get their product at discounted price, and this company will be able to reach their target audience easily, and the union will be able to generate internal revenue through partnership incentive. Number three, strengthen our entrepreneurial community. We build a connected ecosystem where creative entrepreneurs, builders can collaborate. This will strengthen our collaboration one, also bring about brand visibility and a union endorsed marketplace. Empowerment plan. This will be transition from a one-time learning system to a continuous learning frame where we have a website in place. Students can get access to this website and be able to learn at any time, at any point. This is a transition beyond, the accessibility of students to this learning platform is very hard, and we are bringing this on board. On this particular platform, we have personal development, graphic design, video editing, entrepreneurship, and so on. On the last plan, financial literacy program. It is very essential that students are fully aware of budgeting, saving, and become our everyday life.
Please pass the mic to Good afternoon, press members, the electoral commissioners, and observers. I am Shobawale Victoria Temlulua, a 300 level student from the Department of Counseling and Human Development Studies, Faculty of Education. And I am vying for the position of UISU Treasurer. And my plans are into 4 pillars. The first pillar is radical transparency and accountability. This is to ensure that every financial dealings of the union is well accounted for, and also there is transparency in the dealings of the union. And also I have revenue expansion and strategic partnership, which I brought in selling of merch such as books, clothes for the students, and also reaching out to to alumni for collaboration. The third one is empowerment and financial training. This will be a series which will be run across a semester. It will be to teach students how to join a business and also how to continue being in the business, then how to do what, how to invest further. Then the last pillar is leaving a lasting legacy, and also the treasurer handbook. This is to ensure that any other person coming in after, if elected, has something to guide them in the system, something that they can look to and also work on, rather than coming in and doing trial and error method. They would have something to guide them. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll just be taking 3 questions for the treasurer. So, CJs, if you have questions, please raise up your hand. 1. Okay, let's start.
Okay, my question is addressed to Mr. John. So, you said one of your plans is an open evaluation and review, and you said there will be an open review session with financial committees. So, does this mean that the review session will be with the financial committees, but it will be open for to all the students of the University of Ibadan to attend? Is that what you mean?
So, according to the plan of transparency, is publication of the financial statement, which is written there. So before this financial statement is being pasted, which is in line with the Constitution, we have an open evaluation so that they will know the finance committee are in charge of maybe accountability and most important. So they will actually have to evaluate the financial statement before it's being pasted.
Can you please come again because I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, let me go rephrase. For the open evaluation that I mentioned, it is to the finance committee. And the idea is that we want to publish the financial statement. Before it being published, it's being evaluated by the financial committee.
Okay, so the financial committee, is it the SRC financial committee
Yes.
or your own financial?
No, the SRC financial committee.
Then you should have indicated it in your manifesto.
In the house, we have only one financial committee, which is the SRC.
What I'm saying is you should have included it in your manifesto. You should have clarified the financial committee.
If I want to mention a different thing, I will mention finance team. But when I mention finance committee, it is relating to the house.
Okay, my question is directed to Mr. John. In your manifesto here, you mentioned something about collaborating with brands to raise the fund for the union and all that. And you specifically mentioned, I think, Mocha Phone, yes, that as one brand that you've identified, you've already reached out to them. But from the way you wrote it yet, it looks like Mocha Phone is the only brand that you have in mind to reach out to. Doesn't mean that you have an intention to reach out to other brands. That's one. Secondly, you said something about developing a website where you can have access to what's it called, soft skills that you can learn online. And you spoke about reaching out to brands that will support that as well. So my question on that now is, would this be a one session something or something that you will hand over to the next administration after you are done? Because I don't know if the brands you reach out to have agreed to sustain this thing beyond your administration, if eventually you're able to, or if eventually you are voted in. So how do you intend to maintain it and sustain it after you are done?
Thank you so much for that question. In the fundraising scheme I mentioned, there are two schemes there. We have the market structure partnership and the Fresh Start initiative. For the Fresh Start initiative, I was so specific with the brand, Muka brand. And the idea is this. We want to bring in internal generated revenue through a partnership system. And in this partnership system, they are selling to us, right? And this is directly to the company. We have a feasibility proposal to them to understand the ordering channel, the pricing, and the distribution channel. So we are not just reaching out to any other, just one brand. In terms of Fresh Start initiative, it is specific. But in terms of market structure partnership, it's a way to generate revenue when we have official partners. And in these official partners, they have something in mind. This is a system of value proposition. What they want to gain from us is what we have, which is brand visibility. And what they want to get, what we want to gain from them is the incentive to this partnership system in place. But we are not just starting a day or towards the program we want to have or towards the project we want to have. We are starting early as possible in such a way that we are working with them in our own system and we are getting their brand visibility as much. It will be a contract base in terms of that. But in terms of Fresh Start initiative, it is specific to one brand and it's a generating revenue system. I don't know if I answered your question.
My question is directed to Ms. Victoria. So, in your pillar 1, you check your third paragraph. You talked about publishing financial documents. Can you, make an explicit explanation of what you meant by financial documents? I mean, you said you are going to initialize a semesterly UISU financial transparency day. Now, can you just make an explicit explanation on that?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Let her ask her question and then you can answer everything together.
So, good afternoon, Mr.
Mr. John here. Thank you. So, under this, you're upholding transparency and accountability. That's number two. System, semesterly publication of the statements of account. So, I want to ask how you want to go about, because personally, you said this is according to the constitution, but I don't think I have actually come across this publication before. Probably you are the one that wants to start doing it. So, how do you want to go about it? And earlier, the person was talking about your number three, which is open evaluation. Because according to the way this is stated, it's as if you are the one doing the evaluation, as if you are the one doing the review. That was why I was asking you the question earlier, because number two, you said you want to do a re-evaluation process. So, basically, that's the second one was my question. So, how do you want to go about it? This is your public publications of statement of account.
So thank you so much for that question. I would love to establish that this is not just theoretical standard. It is from the place of experience, right? And according to Constitution, it is stated that there is publication, right? The treasurer statement of accounts, the approved budget, and the auditing report should be published according to Constitution. I'm not just saying this out of theoretical approach. It's something that is feasible. It's something